it's my turn. It's my turn tonight. It's my turn tonight to go live. To go live. Just got to wait here for a few moments for my friends to all turn up and say hello. I can hear the bells. It's definitely 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock and all is well. I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me. It's a bit glitchy tonight. I'm very excited that you are here. Hello, Peter. Oh, this is great. We're getting right regulars coming in, and Andy, she's here. Oh, this is lovely. Hi, everybody. We got 6 people. Is 6 good? Hi, Guy. Oh, my special friend Guy. Him and I go way back. Way back. If anybody's got any questions, by the way, just tap them down there and I'll get them a few minutes later and I can talk to you. And if you want to do some of those love hearts, that too would be nice. Matt has joined us. Hello, Matt. Yes, we have, Guy. We've known each other for years. Oh, look at the love heart. It's exploded. It's exploded with love. Oh. I don't think I can even do a show. I'm just so filled up with gratitude. It's gone crazy. Hello, Peter. How old am I? Well, I'm quite young, but I'm not too old. And Amy's joined us from Florida. That's amazing. From all the way over in America. That's fantastic. We're going to start in a moment, everybody. But just to let you introduce myself, welcome to Wordle Durdle Ding Dong. Nightly stories told by me and my friends. We had Lord Purpur last night and we had Monty the Dragon the night before. So tomorrow night we've got... Oh, I can't say. It's a surprise. Peter, I'm not as old as you. I don't think anybody is as old as you. Sorry. Hi, Amy. So, my name is Archie Arma-Dillo. Now, I am also an armadillo, but don't get confused with the pronunciation. I'm an armadillo, but my name is Armadillo. That's right. Get it wrong at your peril. Is there any of those shout-outs here? Regulars! Hey! Ted and Leo are here tonight again. Hello, boys! It's lovely to see you again. I've been hearing all about you. Hi from Willow. Willow, delighted that you could join us. And I'm delighted to make your acquaintance. Warms the cockles of my heart. So today's a rather special day. Oh, Texas? Wow, Marnie. Lovely. Texas. I bet you it's right hot there. Oh, it's just the right climate for an armadillo. I think I'm going to come and visit you. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to come and visit you. And hello to Audrey and Ian. Hello, Audrey and Ian. Oh, gosh. Here we go. Right, today is a special day, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Earth Day. And it's actually the 50th Earth Day. So, well, when I say it's the 50th Earth Day, I mean like the Earth's like 3.7 billion years old, but it's the 50th time over the last few years that we have celebrated it, where we love and think about all the wonderful things on this planet, and all the animals like me, and all the birds, and all the flowers, and all the fish that swim in the sea. And we love them all. And so I thought, for something special, before we do the story, we'd do a little song. And it goes something like this. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start living or giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a brighter day, just you and me. So that's how it goes. Now I want you to do it because we're going to celebrate being on this beautiful big blue marble in space. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your arms up and pretend like you're hugging a huge beach ball. And then you sway from side to side as we sing. So, are we ready? Oh, hold on a second. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it properly. So, can I have the, like we prepared, please? That's lovely. You're not very good at it, but it's lovely now. Thank you. Right, here we go. Remember, put your arms out like you're holding a big beach ball and sing with me. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a brighter day. Oh, did you sing along with me? Okay, we're done now. We're done now. You could get rid of that. Thank you. Thank you. That's nice. Did you like that? Did you like that, boys and girls? I hope you sung along with me. Earth Day. It's real. So, now, time for the story. And tonight, we're going to be listening to, or you are, Harry and the Frog Burping King. And this is done by a lovely lady called Louise Roberts, who I happen to know for a fact is listening tonight. Hello, Louise. Oh, it's a bit exciting having the actual writer watching. So, oh, yeah, here we go. Harry, a boy from Netherfield Green, lived in a house with its very own stream. It was right at the end where the garden went wild, hidden in reeds, quite ideal for a child. It really was Harry's favourite place when he played on his own with the boats that he'd race. Bright red and blue, he would launch them with pride, then watch as they sailed down the stream side by side. One day he crouched on his usual spot in the shade of the tree as the sun was so hot. His boat calmly sailed round a very large stone. Then he heard from the stream a low, gurgling moan. Then, with a surprise, he saw the stone quiver. It rose from the water with a terrible shiver. Harry fell back as he saw that the boulder, it wasn't a stone, it was more like a shoulder. On the top of the mound was a thick, muscled neck. On the top of the neck was a huge, bearded head. On the top of the head was a lustrous gold crown, dripping with water that ran down a man's frown. The man burped out a frog without saying pardon. Harry was sure he'd never seen such a large one. Huge watery snakes slithered down the man's back. As they slipped in the stream, a duck quacked his last quack. Oh, that's sad. The man was quite simply a massive great giant. His mouth was a snarl and his eyes were defiant. He took the boys' boats, all bright red and blue, and smashed them on rocks till they were broke in two. His hands clasped a spear with 3 prongs of gold, encrusted with jewels that looked priceless and old. He growled and he snarled and he scared off the birds. Then he looked down at Harry and he uttered these words. I'm the king of the sea, the almighty Neptune. Sailors fear for their lives when I rise from the spume. I fling boats against rocks when I'm in a bad mood, and small cabin boys are my favourite food. I'm no cabin boy, said Harry right back, just to avoid being seen as a snack. Harry's my name and this is my stream. You can't live down here. My mother would scream. As you're the king of the sea, you're in the wrong place. You're clearly a man who needs a very large space. You must have got stranded away from the ocean, which is not great for me, as my boats are all broken. King Neptune, incensed, ignored the small boy. He carried on shouting, clearly annoyed. Where are my dolphins, my turtles so brave? Where are my horses that dance in each wave? As I tread in this pool, all I can feel are some frog spawn, a newt, and a wriggly eel. The man sat back. The huge man sat back, his head in his hand. Harry thought if he cries, he'll flood the whole land. And then the king said, I'll be brave. I won't weep. The problem I have is I swim in my sleep. That's why I'm so far from me watery realm. Oh, what I'd do to be back home again. Harry knew he must help him get back to the sea, but all the king wore was a skirt to his knee. Let me find you some clothes, the boy shouted back. You can't catch a bus if you're looking like that. The boy dashed to his house and looked all around. Some boots and a cloak were all that he found. He raced back to the king, who said, I'm not sure they're me. Must I really wear these to return to the sea? Standing up in the stream, he brushed off some newts, then he pulled on the king-size Wellington boots. He looked at the boy, who said, follow me. The next bus departs at 2:45. They jumped on the bus at the end of the street, the king in his cloak and the boots on his feet. A few people stared as they thought him quite strange. So he burped out a frog, then they turned round again. As they reached Brighton town, they sought sight of the sea, and at that point the king's mood improved visibly. He threw up his spear and joyfully cheered. Then he laughed and shook water snails from out of his beard. As he stepped on the beach, he took off his cloak and he pulled off his boots, all emotionally choked. He called to his dolphins, his seahorses too, who, hearing his voice, appeared from the blue. Before he could get to the waves of the ocean, he had to contend with the pebbles of Brighton. He yelped out in pain. Oh, it stopped. I'll start that bit again. Before he could get to the waves of the ocean, he had to contend with the pebbles of Brighton. He yelped out in pain and he cried out in woe as a sharp stone went into his bulbous big toe. He soon forgot this as he stepped in the sea. He held up his spear victoriously. Then he tossed it to Harry and said, take this, it's yours. Then he vanished from view on a giant seahorse. Now Harry the boy from Netherfield Green plays with a spear in his very own stream. His mum thinks it's brass with a touch of gold paint. If she knew it was real, she'd probably faint. Oh, what a great story. That was all action and all adventure. I hope you liked it, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen. It was really, really fun reading it to you. So, tune in tomorrow night where we have... Who have we got? We got Lord Purr, and he's doing... he's a cat, and he might be talking about a hat. But just keep it to ourselves. Lots of love, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll see you again. Bye!